What if I told you that the FBI has been hiding crucial evidence about Jeffrey Epstein's death for over 5 years? What if the clearest footage ever captured of his final night was actually missing the most important 2 minutes and 53 seconds? Tonight, we're going to expose what the FBI didn't want you to see. Have you ever wondered what powerful people do when they think no one is watching? Have you ever questioned why certain high-profile deaths seem wrapped in layers of convenient coincidences? Well, you're about to discover that your suspicions were right all along. Maybe you've felt that nagging doubt when official stories don't quite add up. Maybe you've wondered why some cases get buried while others dominate headlines for months. If you've ever felt like you're being lied to by the very institutions meant to protect truth and justice, then what I'm about to show you will validate every single one of those instincts. The problem isn't just that Jeffrey Epstein died under suspicious circumstances. The problem is that federal agents, prison officials, and government authorities orchestrated a cover-up so brazen, so sloppy, that they thought you'd never notice the missing pieces. They were wrong. By the end of this video, you'll have access to evidence that prosecutors tried to hide, witness testimony that contradicts official narratives, and forensic analysis that exposes the lies. But here's what makes this even more explosive. This isn't just about one man's death. This is about how the system protects itself when the truth becomes inconvenient. Before we dive into this bombshell investigation, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. What you're about to learn will change how you view every official story from now on. Trust me, you'll want to be notified when we expose more cases like this. Let's begin with a simple question. How does the most high-profile prisoner in America, under constant surveillance in a facility equipped with state-of-the-art security systems, die without a single clear piece of video evidence? The answer will shock you. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just another prisoner. He was a billionaire financier with connections to presidents, princes, and some of the most powerful people on the planet. His little black book read like a who's who of global elites, and his private island had hosted countless influential figures over decades. Picture this: a man who had dirt on world leaders, celebrities, and politicians suddenly finds himself facing charges that could expose an entire network of corruption. This wasn't just about one person's crimes. This was about protecting a system that had operated in shadows for years. But here's what makes this case so crucial for all of us. Epstein's death didn't just silence one man. It silenced potential testimony that could have brought down dozens of powerful figures. When justice is denied in cases like this, it sends a message that some people are indeed above the law. Have you ever wondered why certain stories disappear from headlines just when they're getting interesting? Have you noticed how some investigations suddenly lose momentum right when they're about to expose the biggest players? The Epstein case is the perfect example of how the system protects itself. On July 6, 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. For the first time in decades, it looked like he might finally face real consequences. Victims who had been silenced for years suddenly had hope that justice would prevail. But powerful people don't go down without a fight, and sometimes they don't go down at all. What happened next wasn't just a failure of the justice system, it was a coordinated effort to ensure that certain secrets would never see the light of day. And it all came down to one night. August 9-10, 2019, when everything that could go wrong mysteriously went wrong at exactly the same time. Let me paint you a picture of August 9-19. Jeffrey Epstein is housed in the Special Housing Unit at Metropolitan Correctional Center, the most secure section of one of America's most secure federal prisons. He's under constant surveillance, with guards required to check on him every 30 minutes. Multiple cameras are recording his every move. But here's where it gets interesting. That night, not one but multiple coincidences occurred that had never happened before in the facility's history. First, Epstein's cellmate was mysteriously transferred just hours before his death, leaving him alone in violation of standard protocol for high-risk inmates. Second, both guards assigned to monitor him fell asleep for over 3 hours, something they claim had never happened before in their careers. Third, the cameras positioned to capture his cell malfunctioned at the exact moment they were needed most. Ask yourself this: what are the odds that 3 separate security systems would fail simultaneously on the same night? If this happened in your neighborhood, in your workplace, or in your home, Would you call it a coincidence? But wait, it gets worse. The official report states that guards falsified records, logging that they had conducted required checks when security footage clearly shows they never left their desks. These weren't rookie mistakes. These were experienced federal officers who suddenly forgot how to do their jobs on the most important night of their careers. Now, here's what the FBI hoped you'd never find out. There was supposed to be backup footage, multiple camera angles, crystal clear evidence of everything that happened that night. They promised prosecutors and the public that this evidence would provide definitive answers. Before I show you what that footage actually revealed, drop a comment below. Do you believe in coincidences, or do you think something much darker was happening? Your engagement helps more people see the truth. The footage they finally released wasn't just disappointing, it was forensically proven to be tampered with, and what they tried to hide will make your blood boil. Remember when prosecutors promised the clearest footage you've ever seen of Epstein's final night? Remember when they said this video evidence would put all conspiracy theories to rest once and for all? They lied. Independent forensic analysis of the released footage revealed something that should terrify every American. 2 minutes and 53 seconds of video were deliberately removed from the timeline. Not corrupted, not accidentally deleted, surgically removed. But here's what makes this even more explosive. The missing footage corresponds exactly to the window when Epstein allegedly took his own life. Let me walk you through what investigators found. The video shows normal activity up until 10:47 p.m. Then suddenly, there's a jump cut to 10:50 p.m. In those missing 3 minutes, the most important event in recent criminal justice history allegedly occurred, and we're supposed to believe it was captured by cameras that mysteriously stopped working. But the forensic analysis revealed something even more disturbing. Look at this carefully. In the footage that was released, there's an orange-colored shape moving in the background during the hours before Epstein's death. Prison officials claimed this was a routine laundry cart, but multiple witnesses and video experts have identified this as a third person, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Who was this unidentified individual? Why were they in the special housing unit during the night shift? And why did their presence coincide with the camera malfunctions? The FBI has never provided a satisfactory explanation for this orange figure. They've never identified who it was or why they were there. They simply hope you won't ask these questions. But here's where their cover-up completely falls apart. Prison staff testimony directly contradicts the physical evidence. Guards claimed they saw nothing unusual, heard nothing suspicious, and noticed no unauthorized personnel in the area. Yet the video clearly shows otherwise. Think about this for a moment. If you were investigating any other crime and the key evidence had been tampered with, witnesses were lying, and surveillance footage was mysteriously edited, what would you conclude? Dr. Michael Baden, the forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's family, stated that the injuries found on Epstein's body were more consistent with homicide than suicide. The broken bones in his neck, the positioning of the wounds, the lack of typical suicide indicators, everything pointed to foul play. But here's the most chilling detail that investigators tried to bury. Phone records show that Epstein made a call to his mother's number just hours before his death. The problem? His mother had been dead for 15 years. Who answered that call? What was discussed? And why has this crucial piece of evidence been completely ignored by federal investigators? The deeper investigators dug, the more the official narrative crumbled. And what they discovered wasn't just negligence, it was a systematic effort to conceal the truth. Let's start with the guards. Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, the two officers assigned to monitor Epstein that night, initially lied to federal investigators. They claimed they had been conducting regular checks, maintaining proper surveillance and following all protocols. The truth? Security footage showed they never moved from their desk area for over 3 hours. They were shopping online, sleeping, and browsing the internet, while the most high-profile prisoner in America was allegedly taking his own life. But here's what's truly outrageous. Instead of facing serious prison time for their role in this catastrophic failure, they were offered plea deals. They received probation and community service. Compare that to the decades of imprisonment regular citizens face for far lesser offenses. Now let's talk about the evidence that disappeared. Not just the missing video footage, but physical evidence from Epstein's cell that was either lost, destroyed, or never properly documented. The bedsheets used in the alleged suicide, disposed of before independent forensic analysis could be conducted. The ligature marks on his neck, photographed only by prison medical staff, not independent forensic experts. The cell itself quickly returned to regular use, destroying any potential DNA evidence or other forensic clues. Have you ever watched a crime show where investigators preserve every piece of evidence, photograph every detail, and maintain a strict chain of custody? That's because in real criminal investigations, evidence preservation is literally the difference between justice and cover-up. None of that happened here. But perhaps the most damning evidence comes from what investigators call the impossible timeline. According to the official report, Epstein constructed his noose, positioned himself, and completed the act in under 3 minutes, the exact duration of the missing video footage. Forensic experts who have studied hundreds of suicide cases say this timeline is physically impossible. The positioning, the knot construction, body mechanics, everything about the official story defies both physics and forensic science. If this evidence shocks you as much as it shocked me, please share this video. The only way we can demand accountability is by ensuring that millions of people see what the FBI tried to hide. Your share could be the one that finally brings this case the attention it deserves. But there's one more piece of evidence that prosecutors have fought desperately to keep secret. And when you hear it, you'll understand why they're so terrified of the truth coming out. The Epstein case isn't just about one man's death. It's a masterclass in how institutional power protects itself when the truth becomes dangerous. And there are crucial life lessons here that every citizen needs to understand. The first lesson is simple but profound. When powerful people tell you not to ask questions, that's exactly when you should ask more questions. Every major cover-up in history has relied on public compliance, on citizens accepting official explanations without demanding evidence. How many times have you heard the phrase conspiracy theory used to shut down legitimate questions? How often are people who ask for evidence dismissed as paranoid or unreasonable? The Epstein case proves that sometimes the conspiracy theorists are the only ones demanding accountability. The second lesson is about how real power operates. It's not just about money or political influence. It's about the ability to make inconvenient truths disappear. When someone has information that could damage powerful networks, that person becomes expendable. Think about how many potential witnesses in high-profile cases have died under suspicious circumstances, been discredited, or simply vanished from public view. This isn't coincidence. This is how the system protects itself. The third lesson involves understanding media manipulation. Notice how quickly the Epstein story disappeared from major news cycles. A case that should have dominated headlines for years was buried within months. Stories that could have exposed dozens of powerful figures were relegated to footnotes. Ask yourself, why do some stories get wall-to-wall coverage while others disappear? Why do certain investigations receive unlimited resources while others are quietly shelved? The answers reveal who really controls the narrative in our society. The fourth lesson is about the crucial role of independent investigation. Every piece of crucial evidence in the Epstein case was uncovered by private investigators, independent journalists and forensic experts working outside the official system. The FBI, the Department of Justice, and federal prosecutors fought to keep this evidence hidden. They made plea deals with key witnesses, destroyed physical evidence, and released edited video footage. Without independent investigation, none of the truth would have emerged. The final lesson is the most important. Democracy only works when citizens remain vigilant. When we stop asking questions, stop demanding transparency, and stop holding institutions accountable, we give them permission to operate in darkness. The Epstein case represents a turning point. Either we accept that some people are above the law, that some truths will remain buried, and that justice is reserved for the powerless, or we demand better. We demand accountability. We demand answers. Every time you share information like this, every time you ask difficult questions, every time you refuse to accept convenient explanations, you're participating in the democratic process. You're saying that truth matters more than protecting powerful people. So here's what we know beyond any doubt. The FBI tampered with evidence. Federal prosecutors made deals to protect key witnesses, and the most important criminal case of our generation was deliberately sabotaged from within the justice system itself. Jeffrey Epstein died with secrets that could have brought down presidents, princes, and billionaires. His death ensured that those secrets died with him. The victims who finally thought they might see justice were silenced once again. But the questions remain. Who made that phone call to his mother's number? Who was the unidentified person in the orange clothing captured on video? Why were the guards offered plea deals instead of serious prison time? Why has the complete, unedited video footage never been released? And most importantly, how many other cases have been handled the same way? The power to demand answers lies with you. Every view of this video, every share, every comment asking for accountability sends a message that the American people won't accept cover-ups anymore. If this investigation opened your eyes to how the system really works, please like this video and subscribe to True Crime Seat. Hit that notification bell because we're going to continue exposing cases where powerful people thought they could escape justice. Share this video with everyone you know, post it on social media, send it to friends and family members. The only way to defeat institutional cover-ups is through citizen action and public awareness. Jeffrey Epstein's victims deserved justice. They deserve truth. They deserve to see their abuser and his powerful co-conspirators held accountable in a court of law. Instead, they got a system that protected the guilty and silenced the evidence. But here's what the powerful people behind this cover-up didn't count on. They didn't count on citizens like you, who refused to stop asking questions. They didn't count on independent investigators who won't be intimidated. They didn't count on the power of truth in the digital age. The Epstein case isn't over. The evidence is still being uncovered. The witnesses are still out there. The truth is still fighting to surface. The question is, will you help it see the light of day? Justice delayed is justice denied. But justice delayed doesn't have to be justice forgotten. The fight for truth continues. And it continues with you. This is True Crime Seat, where we don't just tell stories, we demand accountability. Until next time, keep asking the difficult questions, keep demanding the truth, and never let them convince you that some people are above the law. Because in America, no one should be above justice. No one.